Hey everyone, welcome back to Aggie Chats. I'm your host, Jason Hanson. I'm on the baseball team here at UC Davis, and this is our podcast for student athletes by student athletes.
And my name is Kayla. I'm on the Equestrian team, and I am your second host for Aggie Chats. And today we're welcoming Keylei from the soccer team. Welcome, Keylei.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And today we are having all of our seniors talk about what it's like coming into UC Davis athletics as a freshman or a transfer.
To start you off, Keylei, tell us a little bit about yourself and your transition from high school to college.
Okay, to start off, my name is Keylei Carroll. I'm a fourth year on the women's soccer team, and I major in human development and psychology, so I'm a double major. I just picked one up. And my transition, honestly, from high school to college was kind of rough for me, I'm not going to lie. I came from, a smaller town, and, in high school I did really, really good in school, and coming here, classes are, rigorous, and, my major isn't, super, super STEMmy or anything like that, but classes here are still hard no matter what major you're in, so I kind of struggled with that. I also struggled with things like homesickness. I was a decent ways away from home. Home is 5.5, 6 hours away, so those were a few things that made my transition a little bit harder.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like coming into college from high school far away or home far away definitely makes that transition a little bit harder, especially when a lot of people go home on weekends and whatnot, so totally get it.
Yeah, the one thing I like to think about is the quarter system. You go into college and you don't really expect the quarter system, but it kind of gets on you. You want to explain to the guests or the listeners what the quarter system is and how it's different from semesters?
Yeah, definitely. So what's nice about the quarter system, what I say to everyone when they ask, is as soon as you're almost completely over a class, you're almost done with it. So we have 10 weeks, and basically the first week is all intro stuff, so that makes it 9 weeks. The last week is finals, so it's basically 8 weeks of just grinding it out. And I like to think of it that way, as soon as you're completely over a class, maybe you really enjoy it too. You could always do that or have that side of things, but it's basically over before you know it, especially if you're in season.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think helped you being on women's soccer? I know you have to come in for preseason super early in the summer. How was it adapting to preseason? And then what are some tips that you had kind of adjusting into the academic side of things as well?
What's really nice for soccer is that we're here literally 2 months before school starts. So that's just ample amount of time to practice with our team and be around the team. We're never not with each other. And having that support system right away is really, really nice. I think if I came into college as just a normal student without the athlete part, it would be a little bit harder, obviously, to form really, really good close-knit bonds. Having a team definitely helped me through all of my struggles freshman year, and anything that I had to do, I never had to do it alone.
Yeah, definitely. Being on the equestrian team, we have to come in a month early. It's not nearly as long as you guys, but you do have that family built in right off the bat, and I feel you're able to adjust to college before you have to, take in the other factors, living in the dorms with literally everyone else on campus, and, having to deal with the quarter system, which, as you said, is just so rigorous and crazy to get used to.
Yeah, so. For real. Especially, my first year was a little bit still, COVID was still kind of a thing, and so we all got our own dorms, in Bixby and Segundo and stuff like that, and we were all on the same floor, all of my, freshman class coming in, and there was 16 of us. We were, basically half the team. It was crazy. Yeah. But we just got, super, super close, spending, every second together. And then we also met other sports. Each floor was a different sport, and it was just really cool to, just, find people that I'm going to have in my corner who are going all through the same things. Yeah. And, we can all navigate it together, and we're never, physically alone or anything like that. It's super, super nice.
Yeah, totally. I feel building that network not only with, your own team, but also, reaching out to other student athletes, because those are the people you're going to be spending your 4 years with. And it's really it's one of the largest communities within UC Davis, UC Davis Athletics. So becoming friends with them, and, they're also your students and your peers and whatnot. So building that network, I feel is super important as well.
Yeah.
Super, super
Yeah.
cool.
Building those relationships is huge. So, and to piggyback off that, how important is building relationships with teammates, coaches, and even professors handling the student athlete life?
Honestly, I'm a huge, huge culture person. I feel our team has a really good culture, and that's because we've all put a lot of effort into making our relationships that way. and with our coaches as well. I mean, like, we can go to them with, like, pretty much anything, and they'll be there for us, especially even, like, our academic advisors. Like, I remember freshman year, we were with our academic advisor, like, once a week, and we kind of just, like, went around and talked about what we were, like, doing in life and how things were going, but also just, like, really holding on to your teammates and stuff like that. Like, you'll make it through anything with them, you know?
Yeah. And I love that because we're not just student athletes, you know, we're humans. We go through human stuff.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
just we have so many people here in our corner at UC Davis that we can tell them whatever is going on.
Yeah, 100%.
It helps build that relationship.
Yeah, things especially like also making friends with other student athletes was like huge. Like we've all been friends for a while. Like we met freshman year and stuff like that, and joining like groups like the SARGs, the resource groups and stuff like that. Like I remember I went to a bunch of SAAC meetings my freshman year, and that was nice to like get to know other people and like build relationships beyond that. Also like AGS has really been there for me too, like with mental health stuff, and I'm sure you guys know too, like it's a struggle, but like the people around you are going to bring you out of it on the other side. So
yeah, I know you have a big role in AGS. Can you kind of tell our listeners what AGS is and, you know, why they should come to meetings and be involved in that?
Yeah, for sure. So AGS is the Athlete Guidance and Support Group, and it's just like all things mental health. And this year we're kind of reframing it and restructuring it in a way that there's going to be like a distinction between AGS ambassadors and AGS attendees, so that like some of our events can be more event-based and people can come and just get a break from their everyday life instead of having to come and like go to another class in a sense. Like we're going to separate the two so that our ambassadors will have a few from each team that can either be like nominated or elected by like the captains or the coaches on the team to like provide resources to their teammates and things like that. And then attendees can just come and like get a break, get to do like find creative outlets, find things that they can put in their toolkit to help them when they're like mentally struggling.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I feel like, you know, with SAAC we're kind of doing the same thing, restructuring it.
Oh, really?
To have,
That's so cool.
To have reps and to have more open events for
Mm-hmm.
everyone to come and participate in whatever we're doing that day. And I feel like, you know, there's so many different SARGs, not just AGS and SAAC to get involved in, but so many different groups depending on, you know, how you know, whatever you want to be doing. I feel like there's a group for that within athletics or within UC Davis in general.
Exactly, yeah. So just like that's another piece of advice. Like honestly, just getting out there, putting yourself out there, and like joining groups that you're interested in to find people in your like in sports, outside of sports, like anywhere, people in your corner. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you find it like scary to like join one of those groups? I feel like when I first came to my first SAAC meeting, I was a little freshman, and I was like, wow, people keep telling me I have to get involved. Like, how do I do that? I reached out to my seniors who were in SAAC, and I was like, how do I go and do this? And then everyone got into groups, and I was so scared because I was talking to all these like seniors who at the time were just so big and scary.
But literally now we're here, and I'm like, I don't feel big and scary.
No.
Like I don't feel like that at all. Like
Yeah.
I talked to a couple people who are alumni now, and I'm like, did you guys feel like this? Like I have like imposter syndrome. I don't feel old enough to be a senior in college. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That's funny. The so like circling back to your freshman year, what were some like stressors you faced like just in that transition to student athlete life?
Yeah, honestly, like it's kind of like a big ego shock. I mean, you go from like being the best person. I mean, we're all like the best people on like our club or high school teams and stuff like that, and then you come here and everybody was that.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's a big shock, like big culture shock too. Big stressors. I mean, I talked about homesickness. Like what's nice about soccer is like we had a lot of games before school started, so my parents could travel down, and I mean, man, did they ever like miss a game? No, because they knew I needed them right there. But like them being away also helped me like realize what I need personally and like find myself a little bit more. Another big one was just, I don't know, balancing school and soccer was a little bit hard. I kind of like don't remember any of it. Like I feel like when I'm in season, I bet you guys relate to this, but like when I'm in season, it's kind of like you just like black out anything. Like I don't remember doing any school really when it's in season because it's literally just a grind and you're just like exhausted. But I mean, everybody is, and so it's like you're all delusional together and it's all fun and you're just taking advantage of like the really fun moments with your team, even though some of them are not as fun. Totally. I mean, the fun ones will pull you out. So
yeah, No, being away from home is obviously, like, the biggest adjustment, because, like, you're there and, like, your parents are helping you make dinner or, like, your laundry and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you have to, like, figure out how to do that on your own, and, you know, the laundry can be difficult sometimes. You always have to pay for it. Someone's
you have
always
to make yourself dinner, like, what?
Yeah, you better be there at the dryers as soon as your stuff is
Otherwise it's on top of the dryer.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe.
No, it's
like,
literally ridiculous.
You know, you really have to adult fast and figure out, you know, how to live your own life by yourself. But I feel like definitely having a network and group of teammates and athletes really does help with that. But it is hard. And it's good to say that it's difficult because, you know, it's something everyone has to go through.
I can't imagine being someone who, like, is from the East Coast or, like, from another country. Like, I saw one of your guys' podcasts was about people who are, like, international students, and I'm like, wow, like, stronger than me. Like, dang, like, I didn't know if I could make it. My parents were only 6 hours away. Like, home was only 6 hours away. But then you look back and you're like, wow, I'm so strong. Like, I did that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think I came in with just a comforter because I'm from the East Coast. And
I was going to say, East Coast girl, let's go.
I had a comforter. That was the only thing I had in my suitcase, and a blender, which got confiscated at TSA.
Was there liquid in it?
No, it was the little, like, blender plate, and that got confiscated. So I was like, I had a blender sitting without a blade in it all freshman year.
You're like, I should have just thrown this away.
I should have thrown it away, but you know, you have to learn really to build your life here, and you know, you become, like, with equestrian, it's very much like an individual sport without, you know, that's not typically in a team, and, like, when you come here, you actually get to have, like, that student athlete experience, which is really interesting and something that not a lot of equestrians are really used to either. So, you get to really identify. I feel like your identity as a student athlete just, like, strengthens so much.
Yes,
you know?
100%.
Yeah.
Also, just realizing, like, you can be okay, and it's okay not being okay, but, like, you can be okay being alone or, like, being in your feels. Like, anything and everything is okay to feel at any time.
Definitely.
I got a question about food. So what'd you do for food your freshman year? Like, tell us about, like, the dorm food or the dining hall.
Commons. Yeah, there we go. The dining commons. Oh my goodness. It's like a huge debate. Everyone who always comes in is like, did you do the 5 days or did you do the 7 days? I did the 7 days. I loved the dining hall. Eat the dining hall cheesecake. Like, that was like where it was at. Personally, like, personal favorite, I lived, like, Pine Hall in Tercero, and so it was, like, literally right next to Latitude. I loved Latitude's food so much, and I actually a couple days ago, like, smelled the Mongolian wok from Segundo, and I was like, wow. It, like, teleported me back, and I was like, I miss that. I will not pay $14 to go, though, now. Like, you could not make me pay. But the food, honestly, was, like, good, and you could eat however much you wanted to eat. It was just a little bit hard sometimes, like, early mornings, things like that. I found, like, a lot of my teammates would, like, make, like, food in the dorm, like, easy to make food with, like, a PB&J or, like, bagel, toast, things like that, just because it's, like, who wants to get up even earlier than you have to get up, even though our sport doesn't even get up nearly as early as other sports. Like, I could never be on swim and dive or any of those sports that have to get up at, like, in the AMs really, really early, like, 10 a.m. practice is where it's at, 10 a.m.s.
I feel like I definitely started out with the 7-day, which was great because I feel like in Tercero we had the make your own omelet station every Sunday, and that was spectacular. But then I went to the 5-day to, you know, make easy food, like you were saying, and I would never miss that Mongolian wok. Every time I smelled it, I was I'm getting the wok. I have to go. I will stand in line for 30 minutes.
Yes, the lines were so long. Like, probably out the door.
Yeah, but it's
and I'm
so
like,
delicious.
I'll be there. Like, I'm missing my class. I don't know. Like, I have to.
Yeah, you
Gotta
have to get it. And then using, like, Aggie Cash, too.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like $200
of Aggie Cash.
Yeah.
That would literally be gone in the first 3 weeks of every quarter.
Yeah, I would use
Hands
them,
down.
like the milkshakes that they give at the markets. Those were really good.
I like the Latitude smoothies.
Yeah.
You ever gotten the smoothies from there?
Oh, I've gotten the shaved ice from there.
Oh, okay. I like the smoothies from there. And I was going, like, after every, like, one of my classes, I went in and the lady knew my order every day. It was the best.
Is this getting embarrassing? You're like, oh my gosh, I should tell her my name. Oh no, the Latitude, I forgot about that side of Latitude. They also had, like, poke.
Yes.
Which was, like, honestly pretty good for me. Like, it It was pretty good.
Yeah, I've actually never been on your side of latitude. I've only been on like the smoothie
really?
or pokey side. I've never been on the other
Oh my gosh, we
side.
should collab and go to the other side.
Oh my
I don't know if you want to pay that much money for it though.
Yeah. No, I remember there would always be lines out the door of Latitude, right? Like,
Yes.
right when it would open, because people loved Latitude so much, and it was so convenient. Anyone in Tercera, like, you have to go to.
It was literally 100 feet away from the exit of my dorm, so I was like, we're there.
Absolutely.
We're literally there. Yeah.
So, what would be like one single most important piece of information that you could give to freshmen, or you could tell your freshman self?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, one that I would give to freshmen is kind of like a theme like what we've been talking about. I think just like finding groups and surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals and people who share the same values as you and like who are going to be there to support you no matter what. I think that's a huge piece of advice, is like do that. Definitely step out of your comfort zone if that's outside of your comfort zone, and like find new faces and like people who are going to be there for you, because honestly everybody who I started out with is still here, and like they're still here for me in my lowest of times. Things like that. I think for myself individually, I mean, we talked a lot about like homesickness and like anxiety and things like that. I mean, I think just joining like AGs a little bit sooner maybe would have been better for me, or like realizing that like I do check in on like a lot of people, and that's like something that brings me so much joy, but like it's okay that like I also can like not be okay, and like realizing that like I need help too, like maybe jumping in on that like a little bit sooner would have been better for me, just because in those like really low times, like whatever the worst times I had of my like freshman year, like being able to realize like, oh, maybe you do need a little bit more help, something like that. So
and it is out there, right? Like, you know, everyone knows that this is a very like academically rigorous school, and everyone's going through that, whether you know you're in a STEM major or not. Like it's gonna be hard no matter what, because it's just a difficult school. But there are so many resources 100%. That we have, and like I feel like people are always like use those resources, and it kind of goes back to the back of your head, because it's said so many times to you, but. Like whether it's an academic resource from athletics, or even like you said, like SARCs, like have those communities and resources. Like it's so important. Jason, putting you in the hot seat.
Yeah, this is about you now.
Not only we have you're a transfer. Like any tips or advice that you would have for transfers? I know we kind of talked about that in our first episode.
Yeah. I just want to piggyback off what Keylei said. Like step outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. Like I think that we have so many resources, but they're not really going to chase you down. It takes that initiative to step outside your comfort zone. Like go to a sports game with some teammates, join the new group. It takes initiative, and like I do it all the time. It's something that I'm like, do I really want to do this? But I like
risk versus reward kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like, oh no.
But like once I like break through that comfort zone, then it always turns out for the best. And that was me with SAAC, and I was in AGS for a little bit, and those things are like initially I don't want to do them, but it always turns out for the best.
And then you MC the Aggie Award.
And then I MC the
Aggie. And then you become the MC. Like hello.
It's great. Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you, Keylei, so much for sharing your stories and advice to all of our incomers.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you.